this country. Yeah. Where? Where? Like every day you wake up, it's just another where, and then you go back, you sit, you think. Then you go back and you review again. You're like, where? But this is a safe place. It's a safe space created for you to be able to just find some healing and a little bit of joy, even as you are navigating your life and trying to figure out um how you want to take care of yourself. And yeah, so I hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful day, and you've enjoyed this Tuesday, rainy, a bit dull day, but I hope everything on your end is actually looking good. And if it's not, just know it's about to look good. It's about to be great, and hang in there, hang in there, hang in there. Hold on tight. Keep going. You know, those are the things that actually matter. Icon Radio KE is where you can follow this conversation on our social media pages. We normally have the Afterthought show every Tuesday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. with my co-host MC Paps, who is in absentia today, but we recognize him and we shout him out, and we look forward to having him on the show. Today we've had quite a bit of topics trending online, and one of those topics has been depression. You know, and this conversation was sparked by a very horrific, terrifying, sad video that has been making rounds on the internet of a lady in Kitengela who is doing a very heinous, horrific act to the daughter. And yeah, so even as she performing this act, which is really, I don't even want to repeat it on here because it can be very traumatizing and triggering for a lot of us. And also, if you're on the internet, you know, sometimes you just bump into these videos, you're not even prepared for what you're about to watch, you know, and a lot of us, it has actually happened in that way. I was just scrolling on the internet in the morning, and I was like, oh my goodness, what have I just seen? What have I just watched? What have I just heard? And it was just very heartbreaking and very traumatic to just watch that and have that moment relive in your mind. Yes. So the accusation is, of course, this lady has committed an atrocious act and it's murder, but also there's the depression bit that was highlighted in the mental health bit of it, because even as she was performing this act, she was singing nursery rhymes and things that just made us realize that this lady might really not be there mentally. You know, mentally she is not there. She has checked out. There's someone else performing this thing, and there's been a lot of conversation on the internet, like where do we really draw the line, you know, like this is someone who is going through a mental health situation, or this is someone who is really just performing a heinous act and deserves to, you know, bear the branch of that act. You know, that was a very innocent baby that really had nothing to do with the situation. And you know, just digging deeper into that story, hashtag Olivia, that hashtag Kitengela that has been going on Twitter the entire day, we're looking at this situation whereby this lady was left by the husband, or the baby daddy, if we may call him that, and it, you know, it triggered something in her, and that's when things started going left. You know, like at this point, I'm thinking relationships are becoming a very dangerous place to be in, you know, because we don't know how things might go. You know, we don't, you don't know who your partner is. You don't know where their mental health is. You don't know, I'm assuming where that man is today. They're probably thinking, I shouldn't have said what I said because this probably wouldn't have gone the way it went. And he's probably thinking, you know what, either way, what he needed to say needed to be said. He needed to walk out of that situation, but he was not aware of the mental, you know, where this lady was at mentally. And I've seen another video of some podcasters talking about, you know, normalizing people going for mental health checkups. You know, this brother that you have, this sister that you have, this wife, this husband that you have, whom you're really like questioning whether they're really okay, just based off of how they're moving in life and moving in their space. You're really questioning whether they're really okay, and you never know where they're at. And at this point, I'm just thinking mental health is literally the number one challenge that we have in this country, to be honest. Yeah, like literally it's just going up, 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 and it needs to be addressed. A lot of people are talking about getting help in terms of seeing the counselors and all of that. Yes, it's easy for us to throw out those statements, but then again, have we considered how inaccessible mental health help is actually? Like how inaccessible to the normal common mwananchi. It's very, very inaccessible. And a lot of the times, the people that are really going through it, when you look at it, is the really common mwananchi, because a lot of these mental health challenges, it's not a challenge that is just a standalone challenge. When we're talking about mental health, we're looking at financial health, we're looking at physical health, we're looking at economic health, we're looking at health holistically. um and that's why we as a country, I feel like we're having so much of a challenge when it comes to really just people accessing this mental health services, like counseling, coaching, sitting down with someone. As much as there's the level of taking care of yourself that is there, at the end of the day, sometimes you just need to talk to someone about it. And from myself, I think there are moments, yes, I ask myself, am I doing really okay? Like, at what point for yourself do you actually go back and be like, am I okay? Am I depressed? Am I anxious? Am I dealing with anxiety and all of that? And sometimes we joke about it in conversations when we're talking with our friends. Hey, me, I'm just depressed. I've been depressed for 2 days. Yeah. But then again, how do you know that at this point, this is when I need to actually start talking to someone or trying to seek help? One of the things that I normally speak about is seek therapy, not because you feel like you don't want to leave your bed. Seek therapy because therapy is healthy for you, even on the days that you leave your bed healthily. Even the days that you feel like you want to go out and you feel like your normal self. Seek therapy because it's really just healthy for you. Once you normalize seeking therapy on a normal basis on normal days, then guess what happens? On the days that you really don't feel like yourself, it's easier for you to pick up your phone and be like, I need to talk to someone, I need some form of support. But of course, as I am saying all of that, there is the aspect of how affordable are these services. um how affordable are they? That's one. How accessible are they? So someone who is huko ndani in the bundes, can they access someone to actually talk to? We go to hospitals and we see offices and rooms written counseling. Personally, I'm guilty of it, because even the type of counseling I have tried to access has just been calling a number, getting, a therapist just to talk to. But even in the hospitals where therapy is offered at very discounted rates, just out of curiosity, have you knocked a door and be like, okay, so what type of counseling can I get from this space? How do I deal with the life challenges that I'm currently going through today? So nata weka huko home, when you're feeling like enyewe na feel tu niko depressed, na feel niko chini, where do you run to? Who do you talk to? What do you do? That's the question. And I know life can be very inconveniencing, life can be very disappointing, life is full of challenges and things that we really did not sign up for. Like, we did not sign up for disease, we did not sign up for loss, we did not sign up for a society that does not value us as human beings. Sometimes they just see us as people that they can make money of, you know. Um, so we did not sign up for these things, but the truth of the matter is these things are affecting us mentally, and therefore when we normalize seeking some form of mental health help or assistance, then it's easier for us to find some form of healing and be able to handle the stuff that life throws at us. So my own story, my own experience with feelings of depression, sometimes you sit down and you're like, simple things like paying rent, being able to afford a meal, being able to do the things that you love, to make money, like, it's a lot. I know it's a lot, and even if you find the thing that you love doing, it's not making you enough money. So if you're not making enough money, guess what? You're not living a quality type of life whereby, you're able to pay your bills and take care of yourself. And right now in the world, we're finding people who are not actually able to afford just the basic needs. Basic needs like healthcare, food, a place to sleep, all those things. If imagine you wake up every single day and all those things are question marks. I don't know where I'm getting food. I don't know whether I'll be able to take myself to the hospital. I don't know whether I'll be able to to be in a house by the end of the day. Whew. You can imagine the level of stress that a human being is on if all those things are still, question marks, question marks, question marks. And then you've not even added, oh, there's the pressure for relationships, pressure for life, pressure for, am I doing the right thing? Am I living my purpose? Because now we even have the pressure for, am I living my purpose and all of that. Like, a lot is going on in just the human brain. The human being on this planet today is actually going through a lot. And some of the things that we're seeing on the internet, some of the things that we're watching on TV that are highlighting some of the mental health challenges that we're going through is because of the institution and the society and how we have built the societies and the institutions today, whereby we do not prioritize the person. We prioritize the things that we can get from the people and from the person. Everyone is trying to make money from this human being, me, you, at any point, at any level, disregarding your humanity at whatever level, And it's a sad situation because what we are seeing today, what we are seeing on the news, what we are watching, um, it's definitely the outcome. It's the output of the input, really. It's the output. It's what was going to happen to us when we disregarded our humanity, when we disregarded nature, when we disregarded the sanctity of human beings on this planet. So, for me, as much as that sounds like a rant, sounds like a rant, but at the end of the day, understand that you are the most important person. You are the common denominator. You as a person. So for a lot of people, they talk about people reaching these situations and they're not brave enough, they're not courageous enough, they're not strong enough. But then again, at the end of the day, there's a certain threshold that every human being can actually withhold. So for a lot of us, for a lot of people, whereby we look at them and we're like, oh my God, why are they so quote unquote weak mentally? I mean, they've reached a place whereby they really cannot go on anymore. We don't even understand or even know the stories that they're living. So out here, I think for me, it's an, just a call for people to be more kind, to create more room and space for people, and to offer help than to offer sarcasm and laughing at people. And just to know, just because that was not your threshold, it does not dismiss the fact that that was their threshold and they cannot do it anymore. But at the end of the day, we need to know that there is help out here. There are people out here who are doing this amazing work of just providing mental health services to us. And as much as I can speak on health, on self-care and taking care of yourself and all of that, I just want you all to know that you can actually call someone. You can talk to someone about what is going on in your mind, what is going on in your heart, what is going on in your spirit. Pick up the phone and just call someone and talk about it. Talk to someone about it. There is no shame, no shame, no shame, no shame in just acknowledging, by the way, I'm having a hard day, I'm having a hard month. It's been a hard couple of 6 months. I'm struggling mentally, struggling financially. I'm really, really struggling. There is no shame in that. And one platform that I really, really recommend is a platform called Mental 360, which you can access. Just there's a helpline there that you can always call. You know, a line that you can always call. Someone always available to talk to you, even when you reach a point whereby you're not able to, to do stuff for yourself. So you can reach them on 077654 309. I'll repeat that too. +254 7765 4309, or you can go to their website mental360.or.ke. So that's also a platform that would really, really help if you feel like you're in a crisis, if you feel like, you're not able to just do it. Call that number, call that line, get someone to talk to you, talk to someone. And also, I feel like um even just taking advantage of the people that we have around us, and if you sense that these people are safe spaces for you, then just open up and talk to anyone and to someone. And when someone talks to you, create a safe space for them to actually be able to share, and just provide that space. And if they need professional help that you're not able or in a position to offer them, then offer them mental 360, point them towards the right direction, instead of this thing for, hey, you'll just be okay, bro, just saying that, and then things don't work out the way, after just saying that. No, work on your mental health, take it seriously, take care of it the way you would take care of your physical health, take care of it the way you would take care of your financial health. It's important. A lot of us, I know, like, we're in situations whereby we are putting we're sacrificing our lives, um for to be able to afford life. you know we are in relationships whereby we are just there because we need to be able to afford things, but your mental health is affected, number one. um you know and at the end of the day, you cannot sacrifice your mental health for a long, it cannot be done long term. It's just a short term process, and one day you'll be like, I cannot do this no longer. So at the end of the day, working on your mental health is something that you need to prioritize, and understand that, nothing comes before that. Not a job, not a person, not a relationship. By the if you're in a relationship and by the it's not working anymore, there's no shame. There's no shame. You're allowed to actually put your foot down and be like, I'm out, I'm done with this thing, I'm not doing this. Mm-mm-mm-mm. You need to be able to get back to a place whereby you trust yourself to handle your own life, to handle the challenges in your life and the successes in your life. You need to trust yourself to know that you're able to take care of yourself and to be able to choose the best and the right thing for yourself. That's what you need to remember. So a lot of we are seeing a lot of cases whereby, a lot of domestic violence cases, um which are tying in with mental health cases, whereby a jilted lover, goes berserk and does, the unimagiнаbles, and we sit down and we ask ourselves, okay, what is this relationship about? At what point were we like, it's time to leave? All I can say is, brother, sister, carry your dignity, carry your life with yourself. If you need to go back to your mother's house, go back to your mother. There is no shame. Let not social media fool you. All those edited pictures. Let it not fool you to stay in situations that, honestly, at this point, they're dangerous. These are dangerous situations. So seek the help that you need to seek. Trust your gut, trust yourself. If a situation feels very unsafe, then trust your gut and be ready to walk away. I know this issue, it's been trending today, the entire day. Is really just not the only thing that is going on in this country. A lot is going on, and of course we would definitely have to talk about cults in this country. And it's been a little bit culty, yeah, this week. And I hope that the conversation on this, the Carls and Pastor Mackenzie and Shakahola massacre situation, would just be the beginning of a conversation of how we can just tame the cults in this country, because they are so many. So in the next segment, we'll be able to come back and just talk about what is a cult. We'll be just to understand what a cult is. Simple. How do you know you're in a cult? That's the other question. How do you leave a cult? How does a cult affect you? So we'll be able to just have that conversation. It's gonna be a more of an informative type of conversation. And I hope at the end of the conversation, because being in a cult and listening to this conversation sometimes is very uncomfortable, because you don't want to believe that 10 years of my life I've given to a cult. 5 years of my life I've given it to a cult. I could have lived a different life or a different reality if I was not in that group. So, yeah, guys, difficult conversations today, but well, we hope to just provide the information that you need so that you're able to do the best thing for yourself. In this juncture, at this moment, I just want to give you some good, encouraging, uplifting music, and keep it Icon Radio with your host, Miss Dorsila Ogola. Radio with your host, Miss Dorsila Ogola. In the previous segment, we were talking about depression, and I promised to give you warning signs. Warning signs, when you're slipping right into that dark state that none of us definitely want to be in. So, number one, feelings of hopelessness and pessimism. Pessimism ni yani nothing is positive to you. Kila kitu tu ni yani you never see the glass half full. The glass is always half empty. You're just sad. Nothing is making sense. Jua inakuwa noe. Giza inakuwa noe. Nothing makes you happy. Literally, you're just feeling hopeless and nothing is making you happy at all. There's the feeling of worthlessness, like you're not adding any value to anything, to anyone. But I want to remind you today, you are always worthy. Always remember that. There's guilt and helplessness. Not even guilt. I would say perhaps shame. Yeah, feelings of shame and just feeling like you can't help yourself, feeling like you're not worthy or deserving of help. Yeah. Then there's the thoughts of death or suicide. So you're playing around with the idea of suicidal thoughts. There's restlessness. There's irregular sleep. Sleep is very important. When you're not sleeping, that's a clear sign that maybe you're sleeping into that place where none of us want to be at. There's decreased energy. You're not moving the way you want to move. The things that make you happy, the things that give you energy, your work is just not doing it for you anymore. There's changes in mood, fluctuations of moods and all of that. There's insomnia. Yani usingizi imepotea kabisa, hulali. Then there's difficulty in making decisions. You're not even able to decide what you want to eat, whether you want to take a shower or not, things like that. Your appetite is off, you're losing weight, or you're eating a lot and you're gaining a lot of weight. Then there's this persistent sadness and anxiety and just an emptiness that you're feeling. Then there's tearfulness. So when you get to that point, my dear, lovely, lovely people listening in today, make sure you get the help that you need. Mental 360 is there. There's a helpline that you can always call. Don't let it get it to this point. Get the help you need to get. And you know what, share this information with someone. I'll share this screenshot with you guys on our pages on Icon Radio KE, so that you're able to know what's happening to you, because sometimes you're not able to call it depression because you really don't know what depression is. You don't know how you feel like when you're slipping right into that dark place that we definitely do not want to be in. So yeah, let's take care of ourselves. So let's jump right into this cult story, because Mimi, I am just so done. And I feel like even if I want to be spiritual about it, God is also done with us Kenyans and the cults in this country, because it's a lot. And it's all jokes and fun on social media up until we start collecting bodies. All fun and jokes, when we're posting videos of weird things that our pastors, quote unquote, are doing out here. All fun and jokes until we have the Shakahola situation massacre that is just upon us, and we have people like Pastor Mackenzie who literally are just a representation of the rogueness and where it can get to if we do not curb these things called cults. And my experience is I think I've experienced a cult, yeah. And it's really, for me, I think it's really the worst experience that a person can go through. Yeah. It's those things that makes you really think about yourself and wonder, am I this dumb? Am I this desperate? And when did I lose myself? But hold up, I would actually urge us to really consider the fact that maybe even you've been in a cult, because maybe you don't know what a cult is. And that's what I want us to just get into and just describe today. So I'm just going to give you a definition of what a cult is. It refers to a group of people with usually atypical beliefs. Atypical beliefs, they basically weird beliefs, not the typical beliefs. Atypical beliefs, living in relative isolation from the world. And then they have this charismatic, they have this leader, this ringleader. There's always a ringleader, guys. So if you're thinking whether you're in a cult or not, ask yourself, is there a ringleader? Yeah. There's a ringleader, very charismatic, very akona, away with the mouth. They can really convince you. They can really sweet talk you. They can really like just. I was listening to this Pastor Mackenzie guy, him talking about his religion and when he stopped becoming a pastor. And I actually listen. I'm like, I actually can see how people were deceived. I actually can see how. You know, like he can really smooth talk and convince. And this cult leader has a set of beliefs and behaviors and customs that he is trying to push into the members of the cult. So with that said, maybe I can give you just a bit of my story, because I think I've been in a cult. Um my first example would be right after high school. I was in this group when I was in high school, and it was really good. It was really spiritual, and it served me and it helped me when I was in school. And it taught me a lot at that time, and it was a positive, safe space at that time. Or maybe it still had the culticism, only that maybe I didn't have the maturity to actually be able to identify that this is a cult. Then I left school. This is high school. Of course, I'm in this. I'm turning 18. I want to make the best decisions for my life. I want to be able to go to school. Like, I just want to be on the right path, you know. So I joined this group, and this leader decides to hold space for us, really, and things start going really good at first. We would meet at their house, and we would sit and we would share and we would learn the Bible and all of that. And then things just started going a bit left, and I started having question marks. You know, like we started having teachings on, oh, why painting my nails is a problem, having braids on my hair is a problem. It got to a point whereby I was being told that there's a demon on my head anytime I had like braids on. Like, that was so unnecessary, first of all, because what is that? Really? I remember being, like, the thing was, we were also being told that wearing certain types of clothing is not quote unquote godly, so a woman should always have long skirts and a long dress, and this idea of femininity that's just weird. um I remember also just being in that space and not feeling, just feeling like she is the one that holds the key to spirituality, like she's the one that holds the key to me accessing God. Like, if I wanted to access God, I really needed to reach out to her in order for me to be closer to God. And then there was this sense of wanting to please this leader. So no matter what they say, you couldn't really rebuttal. You really couldn't say no, because you wanted to please them so that you would be in their good books. And when you're in their good books, you're in their good books of God. And remember, my young, growing mind. So I'm just caught up, like, whew, a lot is going on in my heart, in my mind. So it got to a point whereby I would do the braids when I know we're not gonna be meeting for a while, and immediately we're about to meet, I'd remove the braids and just go with my natural hair so that I don't get the criticism. I'm not told, what, you have a demon on your head and all that nonsense. So yeah, at that point I was like, this is just crazy to me, really crazy to me. um so I had question marks, yes, but then again, all of these things that I'm being told are being confirmed by quote unquote scriptures. So it's just a hard place to be in, because your mind is telling you that this is just absurd. But then again, you find they have found scriptures to justify some of the things that you're doing. So for me, I was like, nah. Then, of course, I went through a weird experience in my life. Not even weird, a normal experience. I lost a loved one, and I was like, you know what, I'm done. I can't deal with this nonsense and deal with all of this at the same time. And I took a break from the group for a while, up until I realized, even before that, I sat with the leader of the group and tried to explain that this group is giving cultish, and it's giving control. It's giving, I am not able to express myself. I feel like I need to do things to please you, and I am not able to hear my own voice and trust my own judgment. And the only thing I got from that is the devil is fighting you. The enemy is fighting you. Like, who's fighting me? And the only thing I got from it was, I'll pray for you. And that's when I picked my bags and I was like, I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm really just done. Because I'm like, I've been praying. I don't need anyone to pray for me more. I just need to be able to know that whatever is happening to me, it's actually making sense. So in that conversation, I ended up being gaslit all the more, and I just went home and I was like even more confused than I was, you know. So I ended up realizing that I was in a cult. And the thing about cults is these people that you're in this group, you develop a strong bond with them. So it's also very heartbreaking when you actually have to walk away, because these are your friends, and these are your friends on the basis of this the values that you shared together. So for me, walking away from that cult had really really was the hardest thing to do, but I knew I had to. I knew, I was like, you know what, if God is really God, then He's going to bless me in this group, or whether I'm outside of this group, because there was this sense of God is only blessing me because I am in this group. And the minute I leave this group, I have left God, and therefore there's no God in this other space. I've entered another space where God is not there with me. And I was waiting for my life to topple over. I was waiting for my life to go extremely left. And therefore I was living in extreme fear, in extreme anxiety, in extreme pain because of that. Because you're like, hey, I left this group and this is the apparently the group that is going to heaven, you know. So with that cult, honestly, for me, from that experience, when I look at the Shakahoya massacre experience, I'm like, it's very extreme, but I see how. Very extreme, but I see how. So when I look at the victims, I do not judge them. I look at them with empathy and love, because being in a cult, getting in these organized groups with this central person in the middle is so easy. Yani, it doesn't speak to intelligence, it doesn't speak to smartness, it just speaks to this one person who has a way with words, who is playing with your own ideologies or unanswered questions in the mind, like where do we go when we die? There's that question. Who plays with the philosophical questions that we have, the things that we do not know, and then we're trying to look for answers. And one of the things I learned when I left this cult, my first cult, child, one of the things I learned is it's okay to live in the unknown. It's okay to not know where we go after we die. It's really okay. It's really okay not to know how God looks like. Because if God wanted us to see him physically, trust me, we would see him. It's really okay to be in the unknown. It really is okay. And then there was this pursuit for the spiritual, the pursuit for being able to speak in tongues, to perform miracles, to see things in the spiritual, to see angels and all of that. There was all of that, which at the beginning it was an honest true desire of wanting to grow spiritually, but it became the focus of the group. So you can imagine all the manipulation that was happening there, because everyone wanted to seem like they're seeing things in the spirit, and when you're not seeing them in the spirit, then you are not as blessed, God is not using you as much. And Christianity, wow. For me, one of the things I came to learn is to be okay with what God has already revealed, and to trust my own instinct and to trust my own gut feeling. Alright, nimeshawaambia what a cult is. Yeah? So hii cult, kwanza tuseme tu, if you're in an institution where you're calling someone mom and dad, you're probably in a cult. If it looks like a cult, smells like a cult, walks like a cult, it probably is a cult. Guys, I'm here to just confirm something to you, because I am sure you've been gaslit so much, you're not even able to sit and just accept that you're in a cult. I said what I said. If it looks like a cult, feels like a cult, moves like a cult, it probably is a cult. So, kama munafagia streets for no apparent reason, for someone to come and pass, I said what I said. It probably is a cult. Kama mmekewa dress codes, so do you have to wear like this, dress like this? Yani, hauna autonomy in any way to decide, you know what, I should be able to decide that, I like to wear this or not wear this or whatever. Yani, you have no autonomy over your own life, over your own body. When I say autonomy, namanisha, you're not able to decide for yourself. Yani, wewe, huwezi jidecidia what you need to do for yourself that is best for you. If you don't have your own, you're not able, you're not liberated to that point, you're not free to decide for yourself, then you're probably in a cult. If it moves like a cult, behaves like a cult, feels like a cult, it probably is a cult. And the thing about This life that I believe in is freedom. Me, for me, anything that I involve myself in, my question is, does it give liberation? Does it give freedom? I mean, our ancestors died for this thing called freedom and liberation. They're tossing and turning in their graves because they're like, honestly, guys, really, we didn't die for this, you know. Um, freedom for me, I realized after my first cult was really, really such a big thing for me, and it's something that I try my best to like judge the spaces that I'm in, the groups that I'm in. Do I have the freedom? Some of my friendships are cults. Guys, let me shock you. Some of the friendships are cults. Because there's no freedom, there's no liberation. You're not able to move by trusting your own gut instinct and trusting your own self. You've put one person at the helm of the friendship. Yeah, you wanna decide how you are moving. Yeah, you wanna decide what decisions you're making. Yeah, you wanna decide, and maybe you're a cult leader and you don't even know. Guy, tuongee tu kweli, you're a cult leader and you're not even aware of it at all. Because you're there trying to control everyone, control everything, like just manipulate everything. But the manipulation. Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, here, I feel like the question is, are you in a cult? Are you a cult leader? Yeah, it's all fun and games. It's all laughter until we have the Shakahola situation. Because the question is, how can one person influence more than 100 people to stop eating? But then again, I listened to that Mackenzie man and I was like, okay, I can see how. And then I look at the group of people that have been targeted, really. The group of people that have been targeted probably are not that well read. Um and they are not that well read, there's that. Then they're what's the word? They're vulnerable. For me, in the cult situation I got in, I was vulnerable because I was a young girl trying to do something that I was a young girl trying to make the right decisions, and I thought that was the right path for me. So different vulnerabilities for different people. So for some is the vulnerable point is I'm trying to feed myself, I'm trying to feed my family, I'm looking for direction, I'm looking for hope, I'm looking for God, I'm trying to answer this question that I don't know, this unknown thing. And then this person appears and they're like, I have the answer, I have, and then the worst part, they have something supporting that answer. So they have scripture that they have found a way to manipulate it for it to make sense to you. And because you and the family that you come from, scripture is everything, you believe, you know what, this guy is saying the truth. And then you stop eating because you believe the life on the other side is giving, it's way more giving than this other life that you have. So for me, when I look at that situation, I'm like, I see how someone can get caught up in such situations. And when we come back, we'll be able to look at characteristics of these cults. We'll look at the different types of cults we'll have, and also I'll give you my other story for my cult, the other cult I was in. Cause then I realized being in a cult, really, it's not about being literate. It's about someone targeting your vulnerabilities, targeting your desires, targeting your hopelessness, targeting, for their own selfish reasons. So, we nikunoma. But today we'll talk about it. We'll talk about these cults because the time of reckoning has come. It is here with us. So enjoy some good music, and then when we come back, I'll give you all the tea about these cults. They can really creep up on you. Ah, yeah, you question yourself. The mind part is crazy. for example, before you get out of it, like for example, the first calf, say I call it a calf, say I believe it We're talking about cults, honey, because we are so done with them as a country. We are done. This is a PSA. We are done. We are done with the cults in this country. And just having them masquerade as very safe spaces. And masquerading as Christianity, as religion, as Islam. I'm just gonna say it. Like we are done. There's the purity of the religion, the purity of Christianity, and having people who use it for their own personal gains, for their own power trip, for their own ego boost, for their own money making schemes and all of that. And as a country, we're just saying we are done. Because how is it that we can exhume 100 bodies from a location and no one knows about it? Like that's a very genuine question, and no one knows about it. How is it that all of these people are missing and we don't know about it? Their families don't know about it. All we're saying is that we're done. And a lot of the times, we don't know that we're in a cult. We really don't know. We are not aware of it because maybe, as I said, these leaders, these cults, they tap into our vulnerabilities, whatever it is. Could be hopelessness, it could be search for direction, it could be the fear of the unknown, for whatever reason, whatever vulnerabilities that we're experiencing, they tap into that, and whoop, we are right into it, and whoop, we are fasting till we off ourselves, which is really sad. Um, sad situation to watch. And some of the characteristics of these cults: number one, there is authoritarian control. Kuna huyu mtu mmoja na huyu mtu mmoja ana control, and sometimes hata hii control hata sema with words, but you just know in that group this is the modus operandi. This is how we will move. This is what is expected. You're not supposed to ask questions. You're not supposed to show any doubt. You're not supposed to show any fear. But this person, this is a how. So the control can be very direct or it can be very indirect. So you feel anytime, even for me, like sometimes when I'm in a group and I feel like I'm scared to ask a question, why am I scared? If I'm being told jump through this, whatever thing I'm being told to do this. If you are not able to ask why am I doing this? Especially if you feel deep in your spirit and deep in your gut, there's a reason why you have a gut feeling. If you feel like deep in your gut it is not adding up, you're allowed to ask questions. So think about this group. This group can be a Bible study, it can be a church, it can be your friends group, it can be your chama. Like ask yourself, is there someone up authoritarian control that you feel like you're not supposed to ask questions? Some of you, even your relationships are cults, but we'll not speak about it. Then there's these extremist beliefs. Like there's the normal way of living life, but then they just have to add chumvi to it. They have to add spice to it. If they say dress decently, they tell you, okay, wear 3 socks, add another sock. If they tell you, oh, cover your hair, there's that situation for, if your hair is cut and covered even once, you have to, I don't know, not eat for the next 3 days. Just weird beliefs that do not make any sense. Like beliefs that really don't hold any water. And at the ukiangalia hapo mwisho hiyo belief, there's a lot of fear. Unaogopa ukiambiwa we usi imagine mimi as a young girl 18 19 unakuja unaniambia I love God, I love Jesus, I want to go to heaven. You're telling me because I have braids on my hair that there's a demon on my head. Where's the logic? Guys, weird beliefs that are just very extreme. And for me, I believe in any extremes. Living in the far end of both sides of it is just not healthy. Anything that is extreme is not a healthy anything. Yeah, anything, any group that pushes for extremism, any church, any place of work, not healthy. Then there's this isolation. So let me give my second cult story. This one is a church. So when you join the church, Even the pastor will call out your name. They will notice you have arrived. They will know who you are by the name. And do you know what that does to a person? You feel really special. You feel like, wow, I am seen in this group of 450 people. Imagine the pastor called out my name. They saw me. Then of course you become a member. It warms you up. It softens you up. Kidogo kidogo you join the choir, the SG worship team, whatever you've joined. Yeah, of course now aya umejoin umeingia kidogo kidogo you realize all these things. There's this one person, this one pastor. Kidogo kidogo remember who pastor unamuita mama ama dad. But because also you're seeing your colleagues and your friends calling them mom and dad, you also get into it. You start calling them mom or dad. By the time you know it, because this is it sold itself as a very secure and a safe place for you, so you just get into it. Kidogo kidogo, anytime this person enters the sanctuary, you have to stand up. You can't sit unless he sits. The service is supposed to end at 10 a.m. The service goes all the way till 1 p.m. And if you leave, you're called out at the front. Where are you going? The service has not ended. Where are you going? I'm like, could it be, honey, I could be on my periods. I need to go to the toilet. Allah. So that was the cult I was in. For me, I will call it a cult because it might not be as extreme as whatnot, but it has all these features: the authoritarian control, the extremist beliefs, the isolation from society, and every other person. Like, let me give an example. Because at that time I was living at home, so if my parent would complain about the amount of time I'm spending at that place, and I would mention it like, oh, I need to actually go home because my mom doesn't like me being out here till 10 p.m. They'd be like, oh, this parent is being used by the devil. They shouldn't be coming in between your relationship with God. So you find that there's this wedge being created between you and your family. You've just really been isolated. And then because you're spending almost every day in that institution, from Mondays dream Monday there's what? Tuesday there's Bible study. Wednesday's dream naenda street fire nini. Thursday I ask another Bible study. Friday there's dream worshipping of what? Saturday's Friday kesha. Saturday you're also there. Sunday now is the culmination of the culmination. You're literally in that space from Monday to Monday. So you find that of course your relationship with other people is immediately cut. All of a sudden, all your friends are just church people. You don't have friends outside of church. Red flags. Those are red flags by people. I'm giving them to you for free. Then there's the veneration of single individual. Huyu mtu hadi ataekewa red carpet atembele. Huyu mtu mtamwita mamo dad. Atapewa hata bodyguards 10. Apparently God is the protector, but for him, God is the protector plus 10 other bodyguards plus a gun. Guys, let's be serious. Let's be serious. Here? So those are just the few characteristics of a cult. And cults have very interesting ways of making you see that these things are very normal to them. But of course, now when you start questioning, now you'll be gaslit. Oh, now you're being like this. The spirit, the spirit of the devil is moving inside of you. Some of you are not being led by the Holy Spirit. Some of you, the devil has a hold on you. So imagine you're going home thinking, oh my God, because I've used my brain, the devil has a hold on me. Because I've really just thought and used my brain and listened to my gut feeling and my intuition. So you can imagine the cognitive dissonance. That a lot of people who find themselves in cults feel. The self-betrayal that is there. For me, I feel like even this healing work, if you find yourself in a cult, you need a lot of healing work because hapo kuna hiyo self-trust yenye lose. Because kuna hiyo self-betrayal yenye practice. If you've been in that cult for 10 years, you've practiced that self-betrayal for 10 years. Some of us were in churches, in spaces whereby you know very well that the leaders in those spaces are sexually abusive people, but you're not able to speak on it because these are the men of God and they deserve to be forgiven. No, they deserve to be arrested and put behind bars because they're taking advantage of people. The church is a very vulnerable space. A lot of people go to church to find hope, and when they go to church and they just find people who want to eat their money, take advantage of them in whatever way, then you can imagine what type of space this person, when they go back home, they're in. and the manipulation that happens, the gaslighting that happens. So for me, I feel like even for the Shakahola massacre victims that have survived, I pray for wellness, that the level of help that they get is not just physical, but they also get trauma informed type of help, mental health help. Because the level of self betrayal, for you to get yourself to a point whereby you decide to starve yourself, and yeah, just imagine how detached you have to be from yourself and from what you really know as a person, as a human being. We ni kunoma, ni ngumu sana, guys. I mean, I'm telling you all of these characteristics so that you'll be able to share with me, even if you think an inclination, if you've ever been in a cult. Think about it, guys. Then there's 4 types of cults. Yeah, maybe you will be able to identify some. So one of the types of cults that we have the doomsday cults. Hawa ni wenye wako obsessed with the end times. Like it's an obsession. And of course, with human beings, of course, with us not knowing, we don't even know why we're on planet Earth now, and we have no control of where we will go after our time here on this earth is gone. The fact that we don't know. Huh. So certain cults come together to prepare for the allegedly imminent end of the world. So they're different, and we can also name them. Yeah, we can name those cults. I'm not gonna name them for you. You know them. Yeah. So these cults exist, and even the one that I was in initially, I would even classify it. Sorry, as a doomsday cult, because the focus is always the world is ending. So you can imagine the world is ending, but they also want you to live and be successful in this world. So you can imagine the struggle that you're having, because you're being, on one hand, you're being urged to live the end times, and the end times means, oh, win souls for Jesus, and then also at the other hand, you want to survive and still want to live on this planet. You get? So you're like, I cannot be here if I'm focusing on when I'm going to live. And then you also cannot focus on when you're going to live if you're focusing on when you're here. The struggle, the cognitive dissonance, the not being able to actually understand yourself. Whew. Then there's the political cults. Political groups on both the left and the right can morph into cults. Well, we were out here and we even saw like this mano thing that Raila could be a cult. Well, we could even say the same thing for different leaders that we have in this country. You know, religious cults, political cults. Then we have spiritual beliefs serving as the bedrock of many cults, because religion has been the opium for the masses, for sure. Yeah. And some cults are offshoots of mainline religions, so you can find that. Of course, let's look at a religion like Christianity. There are very different types of Christianity that are being peddled out here, and then now people are able to build their own religions, kama Yesu watongorea bado wapi. So like people are able to build their own small cults from religions that have been there for years and years. Then there's also sex cults. So they have, most cults have a component of sexual abuse. Yeah, most cults have that component. Not all, but most of them do have that component of sexual abuse, and it's a very worrying thing to see. It's very, very worrying. People join cults for many reasons. You know, there's this thing for community, and even this thing for calling. It's very confusing because nowadays we're moving into churches and people calling churches family. So you find that it's very confusing. So unapata, join our family, join the Christian family. So anytime that family is used, because you're coming from a family, either from a broken family or from a whole family. So the one from a broken family is looking for a family that works. So you find a family in church. And then the one from a wholesome family is trying to replicate the family that they have experienced in their home. So you find that people join these cults looking for community, looking for themselves, many reasons. So when you look at all of it, there's also this sense of loneliness that people are also running away from, hopelessness. And I do believe that one of the things we can do to just curb this situation of culticism, and first of all, is just to do away with those institutions that are playing around with people's minds, people's emotions, and extorting them financially. Yeah. And creating more damage into them, Because if someone's life is just occupied by this idea of doomsday, and then upate the life that they're living on this planet is already tough and harsh, then they're not able to build anything for themselves or even for their children here on this planet. They're not able to be happy and live fulfilled lives. So we need to do away with the cults, and we do hope that this conversation is a conversation that we really wouldn't have to have again, because we will curb the cults. And sometimes you can be even in a cult that is seemingly positive, like this self-care pages and self-care obsession. It can be a cult, this, especially when when it moves like a cult, smells like a cult, feels like a cult, it probably is a cult. I'll say that again. So you can enroll onto a program. There are a lot of these online programs. So after you've enrolled to the program, you benefit from the program, from the teachings and whatnot. And still, the characteristics that I mentioned before are still there. An authoritarian leader, some weird ideologies, and just the characteristics are there. So after you've joined, most of the time, the person that recruits you is probably a friend or someone you love or someone you trust. So they recruit you, you go through the program, and then there's this pressure on you to recruit someone else. So different forms of cults, even business cults, they're all out here. The idea is liberation and freedom. If it's not giving liberation, if it's not giving freedom, if it's not giving autonomy being your ability to decide for yourself, your ability to go back and make the right decision for you, if it's not giving a lot of that, then probably it's not a safe space for you to be at. If there's this person that you're always constantly fearful of, it's not giving. Perfect love casts out fear. So for me, that's one of the things that's one of the meters I use in any space that I'm in. Because I'm like, this is just a human being. Why am I so scared of them? Why am I scared of choosing the things that are good for me and right for me? Because I'm scared of displeasing them or making them unhappy. We need to be able to set healthy boundaries for ourselves, you know? Set healthy boundaries for yourself. But it's very hard to set healthy boundaries for yourself if you're constantly self-betraying yourself. If you're constantly being told that what you know is not true and what you feel is not true. So the first steps will probably be for you to remove yourself from that cultish situation, cultish organization, cultish church, Bible study, group, friends group, relationship. Like, at some point, you would have to actually remove yourself and find your own freedom and liberation and autonomy as a person. We pray for healing for the the people that have been affected by the Shakahola massacre, and because it's healing on a communal base, it's healing on a societal base, it's mental health issues as well. Um, we pray for holistic healing, and we pray that finally we'll be able to shut down a lot of these churches out here, because the theatrics is a lot. People are doing too much. These pastors are just doing too much, from dry humping their congregants. Like, it's crazy out here, guys. It's really, really crazy. It even feels weird to say some things, because I am still in disbelief that these are things that are happening in churches, places where it's supposed to be safe, places of healing, places of help, places of charity, places of joy, places of liberation and salvation. That is what Jesus came here for, I do believe. So as we end the show tonight, I just want to emphasize more healing for us, and more trauma informed type of help for each and every one of us, because a lot of the things also we're seeing on the internet is very traumatic. And if you need a break away from the internet, take a break away from the internet. Put your phone down. Otherwise, you're gonna be anxious the entire day if you're constantly reading news that are traumatic and they're making you sad. So take a break and monitor what you're listening to and what you're watching. It's been Miss Dorsila Ogola on the Afterthought every Tuesdays, guys, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. with myself and my co-host MC Paps. Let me catch you on the next one next week on Tuesday, guys. Bye. Toodles. Love. Mwah.